Welcome, everybody, to this new episode of an Edge Conversation. We have today some great experts to talk Edge with us. Marc-Elian Bégin, welcome back.
Hi, Pierre. Pleased to be here.
Welcome back to the program. And we have a special guest, Sylvain Quartier. Welcome to the program.
Hello, everybody. Very happy to join you for that session today.
Excellent. And you both have been traveling the past weeks. Meb, I know you were at a conference in the US, and Sylvain, you were in the Middle East, or you're going to the Middle East?
Both. And I've been in Middle East, and I will go to Middle East. But it's a good sign. It means that the first meeting went well. We have been at Gitex. We met a lot of customers and prospects, extremely exciting. And now they want a second round, which is exactly the objective we wanted to get. So that's a good sign.
That's good
Excellent.
news. Yeah.
Excellent. And Gitex, so what was your impression of Gitex? Because it was, during COVID, things were a bit shut down, but this Gitex was the opportunity for everybody to reconnect.
Listen, Pierre, it was our first Gitex for Ekinops, so it was for us, let's say, a test, and obviously it has been quite impressive. This is the event since the COVID period. This is the first event I see so much crowd, people, a lot of people in all corridors, in all booths. Very exciting booth, by the way, about smart cities, about cyber securities, a lot of startup as well. So really give the impression that we are in a way back to normal with a lot of project and ambition. Everybody very happy to share. So it's very good to see such event, and definitively we will be back in coming years.
Excellent. Great opportunity there in the Middle East for the Edge, just like other places in the world, but the Middle East is a special place for the Edge. Let's do a more formal introduction, if we may. Meb, we've met before. Sylvain, you work for Ekinops. Who are you? What do you do?
So I'm the VP marketing and product strategy for Ekinops for a bit more than 3 years now. Ekinops is a network vendor. So we produce hardware, which is quite challenging those days, but we do very well. You can see our results. We have an organic growth that is quite impressive. It's mainly thanks to our agility to deliver, produce hardware. And we have now also a very interesting software portfolio that is growing a lot. We have tripled our revenue on software in 3 years, and definitively SixSq and Marc-Elian is part of that strategy. So very happy to tell more today about that.
So Sylvain, historically, Ekinops was providing some hardware level 2, level 3, interconnecting different sites, and main customers were service providers.
In reality, we have always addressed enterprise. The thing is, our way to address enterprise is through service providers. So service providers are not really our customers; they are more the partners with who we work to build solutions for enterprise. We decided a long time ago, because we work with each service providers. We have 100 service providers in the world. We have, I think, we have 30 of the top 100 service providers in the world, and we have developed a lot of features for each of them. So the first thing we decided is to consolidate all the knowledge that we acquired for 15 years working for service providers in order to address enterprise into one piece of software. So we combine what we did for Orange, Vodacom, Telefonica, all others in one, which is one OS 6. That operating system already brings a lot of simplifications. And yes, you're right. When we decided to acquire SixSq, we realized that we can offer more with the CPE, so the routers that we deploy, with the one OS 6 that we deploy. We can offer more with a lot of simplicity through the marketplace of SixSq, and that's matched very well the expectation from enterprises to get more on cybersecurity, to get more on performance, to get more on video recognitions, on different verticals. Each vertical has a story where this simplicity is required to access a new value proposition, to get more value from the data they get on site in real time.
I think this is also strategic. I think because having conversations with telcos and having witnessed the birth of the cloud, often the telcos are feeling the heat, right? They're being pushed by the hyperscalers, who have, by and large, for the moment at least, one part of the value chain, right? And enterprise want actually to regain a bit of sovereignty and control. And this is a unique opportunity for the service providers. And now they're realizing, with that combined technology stack, they can start securing the network, but also start bringing back value into the branch office, for example, or the factory floor, the retail shop, right, with business values that goes beyond just connectivity type services. And that's a really exciting time, both for us as part of the Ekinops group, but also for service providers that are, realize that they need to evolve and challenge themselves to be even more relevant, and adding to that the ability to generate recurring revenue, which is very natural for a service provider, less so for an enterprise, that we also have like a good, positive pressure to transform both enterprise and the telco world.
And Sylvain, the acquisition of SixSq gave you a stronger position on the edge. How was that perceived from your traditional customers that you engage with around the world?
It's a very good question, because it changed a bit the way Ekinops brings solutions to service providers. Up to now, we were not really, known to be a kind of innovative startup with bringing something very dramatically different. We were more known to be the company delivering extremely good quality with the right total cost of ownership, and helping service providers to maximize margin in a very professional manner, and working together for managed services. And here, suddenly, we come with something very new. And we come to suggest them a solution that can help them to match their challenges, to be extremely dynamic in a very competitive world when it's time to deliver value proposition to enterprise. You can imagine a lot of companies in the world try to challenge telcos. We want to help them. So that's extremely well perceived and well received. And we are finalizing the business model with them. So that's very exciting to and then we bring Marc-Elian in the loop. Marc-Elian was used to work mainly with VARs, with directly with enterprise. So Marc, as well, I think you feel that passion from service providers to discover more about the possibility of your technology.
Absolutely, and I'm really positively surprised by the pace at which we managed to get service providers and telcos on board, and we've closed already, strategic POCs going into pilot and production soon, and that's thanks to the knowledge that Ekinops sales and product teams have of that telco and service provider world. But I think we've managed to match very well the expectations and turned our value proposition into the right size of complexity and value, such that service providers can actually start exercising that new software, that new very, very quickly, within a matter of months, and we can do POCs in weeks now.
Could you give us some examples of use case, some concrete use cases? You don't have to mention customer names, but some concrete use cases that you were involved with service providers, discussing what could be the value here of SixSq combined with the Ekinops strength.
To take a leaf out of Apple's book, there's an app for that, right? So we're trying to kind of, and we discussed, Pierre, in the last episode, the app vendor program and the marketplace. But really, it's about looking at the different verticals, and service providers, in some ways, is a vertical that, Sylvain explained, monitoring, quality of service, cybersecurity, and defense, and so on. And then there's apps for that. And on the enterprise or the vertical side of things, then we have anything that has to do with processing data close to its source. So a lot of the use cases we look at are based on video, for example. Video is problematic, right? You need to protect the privacy sphere of citizens and so on. And it's also a large data set. If you need to move all of that video into the cloud, it's difficult. So we have now app vendors that will, in a click, there's an app for that which will process video in situ and then extract insights, behavior analysis, crowd control, detecting people falling, or entering a dangerous part, and so on. So there are use cases that are captured with simple applications that are really interesting. Audio is another super interesting application that can be used. And again, a lot of sensors are already out there. So as long as the router that Sylvain was describing earlier has access to that data, then we can actually deploy, easily an app that will deliver value for the customer. And then we can actually go on with more specialized use case to tackle manufacturing, for example. So automated QA will be one, or we have an app that by Cybos that is like a universal translator, to take another example from Star Trek, where it is able to understand pretty much every machine protocol that are out there. So any robot or machine can then be connected and understood by a device like that, and then start bringing transparency and understanding of what's going on at the edge, something that was difficult to do before this paradigm shift.
All right, so I've got a question in my mind. This is an edge conversation, but everybody's got a different definition of what the edge is. Is this an opportunity? Is this a challenge? How do we look at edge versus the cloud? So Sylvain, what is Ekinops' definition of the edge? Is this an opportunity, a challenge for service providers?
Listen, definitively an opportunity. Ekinops, we define ourselves as the expert of the enterprise edge. So really what happens on the enterprise sides. And we know for years, enterprise massively adopting the cloud, and they put everything in the cloud. They put their data, but also their communication, their service, their security. And we see some drawback to that strategy. Drawback on the cost of it first. The more you put in the cloud, the more it's expensive, and sometimes you don't really control the bill. You just realize at the end of the month the cost of it. We can talk also about the carbon impact of the storage of so much data in the cloud. So the edge computing is not something that is coming against the cloud, but more in complementarity, because the cloud is there and provide a great value. But you can do a lot of things on the enterprise edge. You don't need to send everything in the cloud. You can compute things locally, especially what is confidential. It's what we want to bring with SixSq. And what do you think, Marc-Elian?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you, I like taxonomy if you want. So the edge, I like the word edge computing, because you're always at the edge of something. You cannot be at the edge of nothing, right? And the something is the cloud, right? So it's not a duality. It's a complementarity, and it's what I aim to do with the software SixSq is providing, is to provide the customer with a cursor between the edge, or the far edge, and the cloud. And what is that edge? It's basically, if one side, if you put the things to the Internet of Things, the things that produces data, and at the other side the cloud, the edge lives in between, right? And the edge, the cloud is the reference. So you have near edge, the part that the edge is closer to the end of the physical network per the service provider, and then you have the far edge, or the in situ edge, which is the enterprise edge that Sylvain was talking about, right? So that's the edge, right? It's a big, messy space in between the things and the cloud, but all of this needs to work together. And I like to think of it as a continuum, right? And putting a cursor, providing the customers with a cursor, so the ability to deploy the applications and the data processing at the right place, is, I think, what enterprise require. And going back to the role of service providers, that's their play, right? That's what they provide from an infrastructure point of view.
So massive opportunities, a massive set of opportunities for service providers, but also for enterprise to become more agile, closer to where the information is being created, and the ability to manage that information and deal with that information as close to the place where it's being created.
I mean, it's providing them, again, the key words are sovereignty of data, providing autonomy and business continuity where it needs to be, right? It's really, take control of the full continuum with simple tools, right, and solutions.
Yeah, and let's not forget again carbon impact, because I can tell you in each
Indeed.
enterprise RFPs, you need to be compliant. We have their own objectives, and service providers, they need to participate to that compliancy.
So, what's a good way to engage with Ekinops and with SixSq in this rapidly transformation that we see in edge to cloud world that the enterprise and the service providers are living in?
Yeah, good question, Pierre. And I will answer for Ekinops, and Marc-Elian will complement as well for SixSq, because you can also engage SixSq on your own without being a service provider. But on service provider side, I will say we have now a good understanding on the challenges and how to solve problems. And we have a ready to go workshop. And the way we do that is we do a first hour of call with a service provider to explain our perception of challenges and our solutions to solve their problems. So it's probably 1 hour and a half maximum to give a high level picture of the solution. And usually it starts very easily, as you know, as we shared already earlier in that presentation. We talk about the two main use case that service providers understand very fast, is how to offer the visibility on the network quality of service, application performance to the end customers in a very easy way, and how can I increase the security with cyber security functions as well in an easy way for the enterprise. With those two already, you can justify the investment in our technologies. You will have a value. But then after you have additional value proposition that Marc-Elian can explain as well.
I mean, it's exactly the same process. Our go-to-market really is what is key is to set up this workshop, and it requires preparation in order to have the right representation, both from technical point of view, strategic, business, finance. The objective is, as Sylvain was saying, is to basically put ourselves into a POC. Now, the simplest yet most sufficiently representative POC that, in our case, because we're starting from a SaaS foundation, we'll basically be able to slowly evolve into pilot and then production as scale goes up. So this workshop, minimum half a day, right? A day is as you were saying, Sylvain, is even better with great preparation. Normally, really puts us in a place of comfort for all the participants, such that the POC that's going to come out is really, if it's successful, normally we transform into a long-term relationship.
Sylvain Quartier from Ekinops and Marc-Elian Bégin, MEB, from SixSq. Thank you very much for your participation. And for everyone, we'll see you again on our next episode. You were showing something, Sylvain. What is that?
Look, it's my
your business
card. If you want to call me, contact me. Don't hesitate. And we can organize.
Okay, I don't know if I don't know if everybody was able to see that, but we'll make sure that we get the coordinates
thank you. It's kind
of
from you,
Sylvain
Pierre.
below the video. All right.
Thanks for having
Thank you so
Sylvain.
much, everybody.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye bye.